So could Twitter challenge YouTube for video dominance? This is actually an interesting question, and also too, I guess you could throw in TikTok in the ring as well. Let's just jump right in. So first, Elon Musk tweeted out recently that Twitter added 1.6 million daily active users this week, and actually saying it's an all-time high. Now, I don't know what the bot situation over there is. Who knows? But it is certainly exciting to watch this Twitter thing. And the one thing I keep emphasizing, guys, over and over again, if you're interested in management, interested in business, it is fun to watch this Twitter stuff because there is so much information being leaked out, and we usually don't get this kind of inside look at how a company is run, and especially too with like someone as popular, famous as Elon Musk and this kind of stuff. And one thing that was interesting, a lot of people have also been asking in comments, is Elon Musk purposely trying to destroy Twitter? Now, evidently, remember when he first came, he fired half the employees, and then we just know recently more employees were fired. Evidently, he wanted to fire more. You can read this here. Elon Musk's hardcore work ultimatum was deliberate plan to push Twitter employees out after he warned against cutting more than 50% of the staff. So he has been trying to figure out ways to get people to quit, essentially. It's a little easier to get people to quit than it is to just fire people. And it's just something that, like, to answer your question, yes, he was trying to get people to leave. One thing is too, and this is coming from inside, one thing is too is interesting is that, so how are they going to make money at Twitter, right? If advertisers are leaving as well, because we're concerned about whether or not it's a stable platform and what kind of content's going to be on there. So he has talked about monetizing creators, which would be something very similar to what is done on YouTube. And we missed this story before, mostly because of what was going on with the FTX, which is essentially the big headline story. However, I wanted to update this because this is something that I just wasn't considering. In fact, I guess Twitter may or may not be getting into adult content, and I'm laughing. I was like, oh my god, like how much more crazy and zoo is the zoo the right word, or just circus could this possibly get? It can get even worse. But essentially, they're looking at a bunch of not safe for work kind of content, and the general gist of it is that the way that it works now is you follow famous people and they tweet out stuff, and they don't really inspire people to keep tweeting if you're not famous, right? If you're famous, you have a lot of fans, but if you're not famous, there's not really a reason for me to be on Twitter because I'm not really going to grow following and I'm not monetized for that. I'm better off spending my time on another platform. And also too, what a lot of people do is they say, and I do it as well, is I tweet my YouTube links on Twitter, but I mostly want you to come to watch on YouTube, right? This is sort of thing. And it's not really like the incentive for content creators to be on Twitter all the time. Here's a big however. However, one of the things that's kind of interesting about Twitter, what they're doing is they've been, considering going into video. And one of the things that how it would work is like, they would essentially, someone would tweet out something and then there would be like a paywall there, and it would be like, $1, $2, $3, $10 kind of thing. And then you pay that money and then you can watch said video. So you can already see that they have a system in place to where they could do that. And they've been sort of internally testing and wondering if that's going to work. Twitter's also been trying to do a thing called Spaces. It's basically, it's like a meeting room and people can all talk, like a group call basically. And then I guess they got tip jars with that, and they've also experimenting with the thing they call, I think it's called Super Follower, which is like you pay money to follow someone's tweets, which is like a subscription on Twitter. These are different things that they've been considering, and as you know, they tried to roll out the $8 a month thing, but it didn't really work that well because, and this was the blue check mark, because people made fake accounts, they got verified, and then like people would make fake Coca-Cola accounts saying, hey, I think Pepsi is better, this kind of thing. It was basically a big joke. And the reason why I mention this stuff is because when you try to institute something new, essentially as CEO, you can tell your staff, hey, go do it, test it out, stuff like that. They come back to you and you say, we think there's a lot of risks with stuff like that. And this is essentially up to the CEO, and this is something that you have to do as a leader, is to whether or not to listen to your workers, right? They basically lay out the risk for you, and it's ultimately the job of the boss to decide, okay, is the risk worth it? And this is something that I think is an interesting question, because in terms of money, yes, they can make money with not safe for work content. And in fact, that kind of content is popular on Twitter. And they may argue like, Musk may be like, hey, this is all about free speech. People taking off their clothes and charging money for that. That is free speech, which Yes, it is. But is that something that they want to do, and not something that is a good business model? Well, in terms of Twitter, it turns out, and I've showed this guys to you this before. There was an internal memo, and the two most popular contents on Twitter in terms of growing content, as according to Twitter's own data, was actually crypto-related content and not safe for work content. And you guys, I'm sure you know what that kind of stuff is, but it just shows you the kind of audience on Twitter. And I was just thinking about this, that maybe children don't really use Twitter that much. And for you guys, for those of you who have kids, or for those of you who are younger, I'd be curious if younger people use this. I do know that something like a Facebook, it leans to be more of an older audience, and I think many of the younger people are like a Snapchat or like a TikTok. So who knows? Maybe that is the way that they should go. I just think it's really interesting. I'm not, I personally probably wouldn't want to pursue that kind of business, but to be fair, it makes money. And Elon Musk essentially took on $13 billion of debt for Twitter, and they got to pay like $1 billion in interest a year. So they got to figure out a way to make money. And if that's the way they're going to do it, I mean, that's the way they're going to do it. But yes, it is theoretically possible to go into video to answer your question, whether or not they challenge YouTube. Now, YouTube, to my knowledge, is pretty strict on offensive. I don't know, I won't say offensive, because for some people it's not offensive, but we'll call it not safe for work content. It's a better way to put it. YouTube is fairly strict on that kind of stuff. So in that regard, yeah, Twitter could get into that territory to be free speech for everybody, free speech all the time, put any kind of pictures and text on there, whatever you like. However, you're going to run into a problem, and this is a very serious problem. Now, first, this was Joel Roth. He used to be essentially Elon Musk's right-hand man. He was defending him all the time on Twitter, and this was like the head of, I think it was Trust and Safety. He recently left a few days ago, and he actually wrote an editorial opinion piece in the New York Times, which is not a great thing if you're, a CEO or anyone anywhere in a company. When someone leaves, you don't want people to like go out and say essentially bad things about you, bad things about your decisions in public, and to publish it in like a large publication. And I think this is kind of a thing that is a real challenge for Twitter right now, is that everything is in the public. But basically, Joel was saying in his editorial was that Apple and Google are very, very important to companies like a Twitter, because if you have the app installed on your phone, it goes under their guidelines. Now, one is Google and Apple will take a cut out of any kind of money that you're making. So if you try to do this monetized, a thing for video, or you try to do the pay $8 a month for blue check mark, Apple and Google are going to take a cut out of that. The other thing as well is that if you allow of content that is basically anything that Apple, Google deems inappropriate, be it pictures, be it kind of text, any number of things. And I get it, guys, for people who love Elon Musk, they're going to scream free speech, free speech, free speech. That's all fine and dandy, but I just hope you understand that there are certain things that some people find inappropriate, right? And you can certainly debate whether or not that is or isn't. And that's what I was saying is this is a really interesting discussion, because, again, these are private companies and they can set policies. And also, too, advertisers, they're a little bit nervous if you're advertising on a platform where essentially no holds bar, anything goes, and that includes not safe for work kind of material. The other thing, too, which is kind of interesting as well, and again, we're getting so many leaks out of Twitter and now from Tesla, and essentially what it was is in 2018, they did a poll on employees and said, hey guys, what's it like to work at Tesla? So you can actually go and you can actually see the results that people put. And you can read the headline here. It's really interesting here. Read the internal Tesla employee survey from 2018, where employees called Musk an unapproachable tyrant who fires people because of his ego. And just reading these comments out of 2018. And in fact, it's also interesting as well. There's always been different lawsuits or complaints about Tesla, about working there. But usually they just pay people off and they go away and be quiet because you're getting a bunch of money. But it may turn out, as what we're seeing with Twitter, that his leadership style just, it kind of, well, I mean, you can call it an unapproachable tyrant, but, it can kind of rub people the wrong way. And one thing I thought was interesting is, when I was reading through the surveys myself, this was my general sense of what it was like to work, or is like to work at Tesla, my general sense. And for anyone who works at Tesla or have any experience or friends there, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it as well. But when I read through the stuff, sort of what I got was like, people are proud of the company. They think that, the company's famous and the kind of stuff they do, be it, electric cars and these kind of things, that it's cool, right? And they're, like I said, they're proud of the company. But a lot of people, especially at the upper levels, they don't think they're compensated well enough. That was one of the things that really stood out to me. And then the other thing is too is it's not like people are like quitting in droves. I don't think it's that. I feel like it's a balance between, I have this reputation of working at a really famous company, working with a famous CEO, but when does the point come to where, like, is it worth taking the abuse? So for many people they do. But this is something that's been a long running thing at Apple as well. So this isn't unusual in this sort of world. But I think post pandemic, the way we think about who we work for, how we work, and our work-life balance has certainly changed. Let's read some of these details and some things that people say. So this is this leak here was Gabriel Toledano. This was basically she sent a survey out to everyone, and people would say read it, and they're saying here, this is a summary. Review employee survey results is in the email. Not good on comp, especially from the VPs, and not good on leadership, mostly about Elon. So that was sort of the thing. And then some of the stuff that people were saying here, these are just quotes here. Tesla is hemorrhaging highly talented, ferociously driven people who truly believe in the company's vision and continue to hope for its success. Elon is a technical leader of the highest order, and yet is widely seen as an unapproachable tyrant who devalues the contribution of his staff and may fire them on a whim. We treat people, the fundamental unit of a company, like any expendable resource. So it's really interesting to hear internal thoughts. And again, for those of you interested in business management, just hear what people have to say. I get it. There are Tesla and Elon Musk fanboys, no matter where you look, and they'll just ignore all this stuff, and that's fine. You can do what you like. But I do recommend for people to get good at dealing with people is to listen to what people say. Let's see what else people say here. The culture from Elon is, you're lucky to work for Tesla, which I could totally see that. And I think the Twitter thing will probably be the same. Is you're lucky to work for Twitter is sort of like, the response. If anyone has any complaints, you're lucky to work here. What else we got here? Elon fired multiple engineers at the KUKA at Gigafactory last year. If it was because of his ego, that needs to change. Here's more. The blame placed by Elon and the executive team on lower level engineers without owning any accountability to the poor level of design review, non-reality based scheduling, and insufficient resource allocation has led me to lose all trust in Elon as a leader of this company. So essentially kind of they're criticizing that maybe they have to work too much. It's like the scheduling is not based on reality, is sort of what one person said. Here's some more comments. Empower people to not be bullied by Elon into making unrealistic commitments. It's very similar to the kind of stuff that we were hearing from Twitter. There's two more. We'll take a look at these. Elon needs to take ownership of his position he has put the team in. He and JB need to take that on themselves. They need to immediately stop firing everyone. This is from 2018 Twitter, so it's interesting. They need to immediately stop firing everyone that reports to them and remove any threats from how they are doing business. I feel at any point I or anyone around me will be fired. I am not planning on sticking around much longer in that extremely toxic environment. And here's one more. I think that there needs to be more effort put into the culture here at Tesla. I know that the work is incredibly important and that we all need to work hard, but we also need outlets to express and enjoy ourselves on a more personal level. There are a few communications from Elon Musk and the executive team. I think it's important they reach out to the company from time to time with exciting updates so we feel more a sense of community and belonging. And this is just some sort of different thoughts of employees that work at the company, what they say. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts of this stuff, and if anything is shocking or surprising to you. And if you, like I said, if anyone has any friends or family or heard things about working over at Tesla, this is back in 2018. So 2022 right now could be different. One person wrote in comments, and this is on our channel, was saying that that Elon has left Tesla and has worked at Twitter, and now maybe things are better at Tesla since he's not there to poison it. I just thought that was kind of funny. But like I said, I looked at the surveys myself, and I think people generally, they know Tesla's got a good brand name and you're doing it for your resume and you maybe like the work you do, but not so thrilled about the way Elon treats people. And I think from an old style management staff, people say, oh, well, that's what the bosses got to do. You got to, rule with an iron fist. But, my recommendation in these days, the times that we live in now, post-pandemic, is just that people want more out of work. They want to be treated fairly. And I think that there's going to be an interesting sort of, what's the right word to say, dilemma coming up to where tech companies are going to be firing a lot of people, and then the job, sort of market isn't going to be so great going into recession. And so I'm not sure if people are still going to be all about quiet quitting and work-life balance, or people are like, you know what, I just need a job to pay my bills. And this goes back to a point that I emphasize so many times on this channel, is live below your means so that you have the flexibility to pursue things that are more stress-free for you and more comfortable for you. Because sometimes, to be frank, guys, sometimes the money's not worth it. Sometimes the time away from your kids isn't worth it, and sometimes just the gray hairs you get from your boss yelling at you all the time, sometimes it's not worth it, and everyone's got to make the decision on that for themselves. So love to hear you guys' thoughts on this stuff. Thanks again for watching, everyone, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.